Samuel Macby once said, everyone, rich or poor, deserves a shelter for the soul. Architects should lead the procuring social and environmental change. Good day, everyone. My name is Carlo from the Philippines, and I am very happy today to share with you a possible help to initiate change. Possible solution that might solve two of the worst global problems we all partake: solid waste and housing backlog. I am also excited to discuss how we, as designers, can get involved in providing such solutions in a more sustainable and innovative way. This is Sustaina-build, a concept that uses waste as a driver for sustainability, made feasible by the advancements of technology. To begin, let's talk about plastic and its contribution to the environmental change. Every day since its invention, the plastics we use end up in sanitary landfills. Little did we know we have already created a 400-year problem due to plastics, leaving 16 generations to face the consequences of the waste we make today. According to World Wildlife Fund, 94% of plastics are left unrecycled. Alarming, isn't it? But what's more alarming is that 99% of which contribute to climate change due to mismanagement. These plastics over the years are turned into microplastics that make the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the water we drink, causing more than 1 million deaths annually. Fact is, Philippines is the third worst environmental offender in the world because of mismanaged plastic, contributing 1.8 million tons of such waste yearly. We have so much waste that all landfills in Manila are predicted to close in the next 15 years. If this happens, those areas will be left unusable for at least the next 1,000 years, the number of years needed by these plastics to decompose. That would place the inhabitants to unhealthy, even worse, dreadful situations. We have already seen this in the case of Smoky Mountain before it was closed down. Smoky Mountain is a 50-meter high trash pile in Tondo, Manila, which has claimed countless of lives and is continually affecting thousands of families. The garbage mountain is situated near a tenement housing. In 2015, the National Housing Authority, a government body concerned with providing housing in the Philippines, deemed these buildings dangerous due to the crack scene, and therefore was planned to be demolished. But I am positive there is hope in this. I believe that this area will be the best place for Sustaina-build's ground zero. Though initially designed for 2,000 families, this 34-building tenement housing is now home to 4,000 families. Each three-story housing is overcrowded with occupants belonging to the poorest social groups of Manila. According to the National Housing Authority, Philippines has 6.8 million housing backlog, and 42% of that, or 3.2 million, is concentrated in Manila, where slums living in danger zone are prominent. These tenement housing are no longer safe for habitation. Aside from the structural deterioration and fire hazard, its proximity to the Smoky Mountain adds up to the inhabitability of the site. The 4,000 households living in Vitas have no choice but to live in these cramped structures with no green spaces and unsafe environment. A study conducted in 2012 shows that pneumonia is the leading cause of unnatural death to the residents who live in this area. These deaths are caused by fumes, poor sanitation, and unhealthy air present from the nearby landfills. The demographics that are most affected by this are the children and elderly because of their frail health condition. I personally witnessed all this, and so it made me think, what if we can sustain the rate of waste reduction while building housing for the homeless at the same time? I realized the solution is to Sustaina-build, or simply Sustaina-build. Sustaina-build wanted to provide a concept that utilizes waste in landfills as a driver for a more sustainable way of providing housing while lessening hazardous waste. It is also a concept meant to integrate 3D printing technology with waste management facilities to make byproducts that can be used in constructing a cost and time-efficient housing. This system can generate 30 kilowatts of electricity, repurpose 22 tons of waste, with 97% of those being recycled to make 6 units of housing in just 24 hours. Not bad. In retrospect, we generate 11 tons of waste each day. Using this technology, we could utilize these 11 tons and gather 11 tons more from our landfills. This can be achieved by developing a large-scale reusable 3D printing machine to be attached at the top of the structure. The waste, which will be treated, repurposed, and recycled, will be processed in an adjacent waste management facility to generate filament which will be used as building material. This will be delivered to the 3D printer using the filament shaft. After printing all those 1,000 units in each structure, we would have converted 3,700 tons of waste into a safer, cleaner, and healthier housing for those in need. We wouldn't have to wait 8,000 years to utilize the land we dump our waste into. This concept merges and improves the basic principles of waste management, construction, and printing into an immediate yet sustainable solution for a long-term problem. Sustaina-build ensures an environmentally sound and healthful future. Sustaina-build takes into account the cost, time, adaptability, and sustainability of the structure. 3D printing through Sustaina-build lessens the cost and time needed for transporting materials, workers, and equipment. One notable difference of the two is that the traditional construction method generates 30% material waste, something that Sustaina-build does not have since waste are its material. Furthermore, as we all can see in the chart, 3D printing can lessen resources by cutting off time by 77%, cost by 60, material by 70, manpower by 90, and wastage by 95%, making it a more sustainable option for the project. As for the form concept, Lego blocks was chosen because of its ability to push boundaries in creating models that are imaginative but architecturally intuitive. A basic block of Lego allows us to create something from practically nothing. The same principle shared by Sustaina-build. The solid waste serves as basic block that can be a potential part of a huge relevant project. In this case, a solution to housing backlog. Each flexible unit is designed to accommodate varying household sizes through its modular system of construction. The openings exceeded the required 10% minimum in the Philippines, allowing a lesser use of artificial lighting and ventilation. The shapes were conceptualized from the altered units of the Vitas tenement that are staggered due to the renovations done by the residents to laterally expand their units. The development is composed of 5 high-rise housing for 5,000 families. Aside from the environmental benefits, Sustaina-build provide learning center for children. It also addresses the economic and governmental aspects of the community through training room, commercial spaces, and community offices. Through Sustaina-build, the tenants are given better access to opportunities which usually are missing in slum areas. The upper floors will be printed using tunable 3D printer, which can print 3 units a day using 12 tons of filaments. Sustaina-build can construct the 1,000 units in 166 days. Amazing, isn't it? Due to its accuracy, piping systems and basic fixtures will also be printed. The units are entirely customizable depending on the needs of the users. The concept uses waste as building material, which would mean that cost is at its minimum. Each of the 5 housing facilities can hold 1,000 units with every floor containing spaces for hydroponic garden, rainwater catchment, and solar power system, thus making Sustaina-build a self-sustaining structure. Since Vitas at present has 4,000 families, this 1,000 unit excess is important to make Sustaina-build as a driver for movement for the remaining informal settlers within the area. A typical barong-barong or makeshift house in the Philippines has an average area of 10 square meters per family. Moving 1,000 families into Sustaina-build would allow the government to reclaim approximately 10,000 square meters of land. In turn, the reclaimed land may be used as a site for building more Sustaina-build housing. As for my color inspiration, I chose these dynamic colors from Nippon to improve the character of my site. The colors are completely different from what we see in slums. Grays, wood, bare concrete, and roof is how we identify poverty, and so does it dwellers. Paint through Sustaina-build, there is hope in eradicating solid waste. There is a promise of a home for the homeless and those in the streets. One that would generate livelihood within a Sustaina-build neighborhood and give educational opportunities for the poverty-stricken children. By using Nippon's colors, Sustaina-build was able to humanize the culture of the less fortunate and design a soulful shelter, not for the slums, not for the homeless, not for the poor, but for people in general. Again, this is Sustaina-build, trying to be part of the solution to possibly end waste problems while reinventing housing as we move forward to a more sustainable future. Thank you, and may we always build.
Thank you. Judges, I'd like to open the floor to you for comments and questions. Ravi has already unmuted, right? Ravi, you have something to say?
Yeah, great. I think Jesus is a great presenter. I think full of confidence, full of energy. Must compliment you for that. You've got so involved in this because you're part of the solution and you've seen the problems closely. And I think whatever you've come out with, it's a brilliant ad campaign for Sustaina-build. You could start this company and make this as a movie. Just 2 things, Jesus, that whenever we in India too, we face the same problems. We've got, in fact, I stay personally very close to a landfill site here, and we've been struggling with the idea of how do we, make the spaces humane for those living on the edge, the informal settlements and the minority community which lives near the landfill site. And we've had two forms of development, and this is data for you, and I'll be more than happy to, since I have your email ID, to show you data on how the government tried to tackle this issue with both a high rise as well as a low rise solution. The high rise solution was in the early 2000s, and the low rise solutions was in the 1970s. And and after and I have data to support this for you. And after they carried out a intense survey of the lifestyle, because a dwelling is a dwelling, but the dwelling, it does not end there. Our role as architects has to ensure what is their life after housing themselves there. And they found that the high rise were devoid of light, wind, fundamentals of architecture, landscape. Just by putting plants on the balconies or in the external is not sufficient, right? So yeah, whether we were doing justice to light, wind, I know there is land paucity, but the low-rise development, surprisingly, the social fabric was more or less intact. And they found that although there is issue, there has been dense development, there has been migrant movement, so a lot of the low-rise development has become a slum. But still, there was an opportunity to intervene and sort out issues in a low-rise development because there was still opportunities for light, wind, ventilation. You could see land, you could see sky. Everyone had an access. Because the lower units in the high-rise faced a huge problem because of no light, no wind, no ventilation. People started it was a vertical slum. So this is food for thought. I will send you data. I will make it a point to share data with you. But you should study both vertical analysis of these settlements to come up with something. Otherwise, it is a big issue. And also the soil on a landfill site requires phytoremediation, which takes time. But I'm glad that you're using plastic as building material. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. Siriti? Yeah.
Hi. Hi, thank you for your presentation. If the project really happens, I think it would help to solve a lot of problems that we have right now. I have some comments. Is that what I see? It seems that you're focusing on reducing the waste or plastic waste and convert it into a building. But in your first slides, you were mentioning about the slums, and you said in the last slide you're building shelter for the people. So I think it would be nice to also see the people side, meaning the detailed design of your module, not just how you are converting waste into a building, but how you are redesigning or innovating the new design modules, for example, like the floor plans for the people's shelter in each different modules. But overall, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siriti. Daniel had something just now, was it? Mr. Daniel, you have something to say? Yeah.
Jesus, I hope you're not gonna strike me down if I'm gonna talk negatively about your project. Firstly, I'd like to commend you. You're a very great presenter, but somehow or rather, I feel like I'm listening to a documentary film promoting Sustaina-build and talking about the environment and the slum and trying to do promote 3D printing and how that save time, cost, material, manpower, and wastage and things like that, which is all great. Yeah, but I also want to comment that in terms of the project that you're promoting, which I believe is like more affordable housing for the displaced family and things like that, visually it does look very interesting, especially how the colors and primary colors are incorporated into your design and all that. So I think that's all very positive. But I think what is lacking, when I feel is a little bit, is the understanding of the kind of family that you are displacing and how this family profile in terms of the children and the elderly, which you mentioned early on, are actually taken care of in terms of the design that you are promoting, and also how basically that this is in the Philippines and how the social condition and the cultural condition of the Philippines the Filipinos are basically reflected in terms of the design. After all, this is a design competition and not that much about technology and building methodology and things like that. So I'm hoping that in terms of what the other judges has mentioned in terms of incorporating ventilation, landscaping into the overall living environment, because this is basically a community living project. So I think there should be a lot more explanation as far as your design concept is fleshed out about in terms of the private spaces and public space, communal spaces and things like that, and how it fits into the kind of the people that's going to live there, the profile of the families that are going to live there, that this is for 1,000 units. So it's definitely quite dense, definitely, yeah, a dense housing project. And it's also seems that it can go quite tall also with the 3D printing technology. So like I say, I like to see a little bit more of that being presented in your project. So far, I've seen that you're promoting a lot about technology and all that. So hopefully, as an architect or upcoming architect, that when you're commissioned to do affordable housing in a slum area, that bit more focus into your end users, the consumers, the people that are actually living there itself is, I feel, is of utmost importance. Yeah. All right. Yes. That's it.
Thank you.
Right. We have time for one last question or comment. Anyone would like to take it up before we wrap it up, or I can just wrap it up as it is. No pressure, guys. All right. If that's so, thank you, John, for your time. Well done. I'll see you soon. You may log off now.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.